Nobody's ever tried to be a superhero.
Well, I don't know. Probably because it's impossible.
Putting on a mask and helping people? How's that impossible?
Dude, if anybody did it in real life, they get their ass kicked.
How is it being on the red carpet for the European premiere of something that you guys created?
I'm amazed that there's nobody here that sounds just like me. I'm the only Brooklynite in the whole crowd. I've only seen this on television, and this is fascinating. I love it. I think this is the way all things should be done, and that's the way all our films should be done.
What,
I like it. As a Scotsman, I like the fact we're getting to see it for free, which is good.
Actually, on the subject of being Scottish, Mark, you've got your train spotting with superheroes thing. How many times have you been asked about that tonight?
Quite a lot, actually. Not on this, not on the carpet, but like, yeah, I'm going to direct this movie in July. It's my first time directing. It might be rubbish. We'll see what happens. If it's rubbish, I'll never talk about it again and somehow bury it. And if it turns out to be as good as I hope it does, then great, you know.
Presumably, if it's in July, prep's fairly far along in terms of script, story, cast, and all of that. Is there anything you can reveal to us, Mark?
No, it's actually, we're not casting until May, but we're doing an entire new cast of unknowns from Scotland. It's going to be entirely Scottish crew and everything, you know. We're doing blood tests just to make sure people are Scottish that are working on it. But yeah, I'm using unknowns because they're cheap. It's great, you know, and we'll rip them off.
Fair enough. And in terms of sort of other projects, obviously you've got Nemesis as well that you're both working on.
No, I'm not working on Nemesis. That's his baby.
No, we're going to do Kick-Ass 2 together, but until Johnny's ready to start Kick-Ass 2 actually next month. So while Johnny was finishing Kick-Ass, I wrote a book called Nemesis for a mate of mine called Steve McNiven, and it's out this Wednesday. So that'll be a movie hopefully later, well, hopefully start filming at the end of the year.
So how did you're obviously, you were last in 500 Days of Summer, and then this. Bit different.
They're definitely two different roles, but absolutely amazing roles.
How was it jumping between the very sort of sweet-natured but slightly sarcastic tomboy and then psychopath?
Well, I wouldn't say she's a psychopath, but she is a really awesome, crazy crime-fighting assassin.
Crazy crime-fighting assassin. Nice. What I'm curious. How did your parents react? I presume they've seen the film and they were on set with you.
Yeah, my parents actually read the script before I did, and my mom knew that it was an absolutely amazing character, and it was a role that, you know, anyone could kill for.
Nice. And what are you in next?
I just worked a film with Martin Scorsese. It's called The Invention of Hugo Cabret, with Ben Kingsley and Sacha Baron Cohen and Asa Butterfield.
Nice, thank you very much. So how was it then with Kick-Ass? Obviously it's very different from what you're most known for, which is McLovin.
Right.
How was it sort of jumping between the two and finding the character?
It was a lot of fun. You know, Matthew really trusted me with the role. I've never been in an action movie. I've never done something like this. And he could have gave it to somebody like Paul Dano or someone who's a really talented actor and could nail this role. But he believed in me, he gave it to me, and he let me try something new, and I think it turned out well.
Fair play. And has it whetted your taste for action films and superhero films?
Where's my taste?
Has it whetted your appetite?
Oh, completely, yeah. I'm going to be Michael Bay's new muse. Non-stop action, explosive movies.
What are you sort of looking forward to next with your career? Is it Kick-Ass 2 or is it something big in between?
I think we all want to do a Kick-Ass 2, but we got to wait to see if this one does well. But yeah, I get back. I have an animated movie coming out called How to Train a Dragon I did a voice for. And then when I get back to LA, I have a few scripts that I'm attached to, but too early in production to really talk about.
.uk.
You're what? Hate you guys?
Hey you guys.
Hey you guys. I thought it was some sort of website for haters.
No.
Okay, I'll say hello to you because you're like nice young men.
Thank you very much. Well, that's impressive. When you know the truth.
Well, I'm kind of lying.
You're involved with the film. Your wife.
I'm not really involved in the film. My wife wrote it or co-wrote it with Matthew. But I'll be honest with you, he just scribbles a few lines there. She does all the actual work, as you probably know. But I'm just Phil because I'm a huge comic fan, and they've done such a great job. Genuinely, it's awesome. So I can't wait to see it again.
I take it you've seen it a few times now.
I've seen it a few different stages, and I went to one of the early tests where they asked your opinion, and almost everything I said they ignored, and they were right to. But of course, I always write a long list for Matthew and go, "You've got to change this, you've got to change that. That doesn't work." And he reads it all and he goes, "You don't know anything," which is quite a good impersonation. If you get him like that, that's how he speaks like that.
Always good to see you. You enjoying being probably the most popular British actor of the moment? You're in just about everything now, aren't you?
Well, I was just saying earlier on, it's law. If you don't have me in a film, you could go to prison, frankly.
Nice. And how's the reuniting with Matthew been?
Great. I mean, the one joy about being an actor is that you can get to work with people again who you enjoy working with, and the fact that they asked me to do projects with them is a real, compliment.
And obviously now you're not just getting the British films, you've got Hollywood not so much knocking on your door as beating it down, robbing you out of the house and casting you as just about anything going, haven't you?
Well, what's nice is I feel like I've been doing it for a while, and what I've now become good at is the thing that they want. So they keep offering me these interesting characters, and I feel like I keep thinking maybe not, maybe I shouldn't, but then they comes along and I see it and I think, yeah, I want to do that, and what I've realised is apparently I've got a blockbuster coming out for the next 3 years. I've got Robin Hood coming out after this, and then there'll be Green Lantern, the Martin Campbell film, and then it'll be John Carter of Mars in 2012. So I'll be around for a bit.
Obviously, you mentioned Green Lantern, and we'll get on to John Carter in a second, but you mentioned Green Lantern. Is there anything you can tell us about it, more in terms of what you're doing, in terms of how your role is, what you're playing?
I can't give much away. I'm playing a character called Sinestro, who is the arch nemesis of Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. And the film is following the origin story pretty closely.
So, in that case, Sinestro isn't the arch nemesis to start with, then, presumably?
He is Hal's mentor, but you'll have to go and see it to find out.
Okay.
I can't tell you any more than that because they'll cut my legs off, frankly.
Okay. And as for John Carter of Mars, I've spoken very briefly with James Purfoy about John Carter, and he was... It wasn't so much that he couldn't tell us, it was that he just didn't know, because I understand it's a lot of green screen.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of acting in a massive warehouse with green walls. It's like doing a jigsaw, that film. Andrew, the director, has it in his mind exactly what he's after, and our job is to give him those bits of the jigsaw that he can then put together.
So, Aaron, this is your second leading performance in the space of, 8 months? Less than that, isn't it?
Guess so.
How's that feel? It's sort of 0 to 60 in no time at all.
Great. I'm really fortunate and lucky to be here and be a part of that. I mean, I don't really know what to say. I mean, it wasn't in my interest. It wasn't my plan to. You know what I mean? I suppose I wasn't lucky. But...
Fair enough. And how was it moving between the two projects, from sort of an icon to a comic book?
Well, I filmed this one first. I did Kick-Ass first, and it was quite a strange transformation into a comic book fan, reader, amateur superhero into a rock and roll legend. It was a mad jump and leap.
Are you a fan of comics? Did you read certainly the Kick-Ass comic?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, at the time there was only issues 1 to 3, and then by the time we finished filming, it was only issue 5 came out. And huge, fan of Mark Miller's stuff. I obviously wanted a fantastic comic book, and but before that, I was huge into the films. Comic like Batman's and Tim Burton's version, obviously, and the Spider-Man, X-Men.
I mean, so far we've been just overwhelmed by the response. We've been getting 5-star reviews, people coming out massively excited, which is just so exciting for us. And we had no idea what people would think of it. And so far the response has been just the most exciting thing ever. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. It's the most exciting thing I've been involved in. It's amazing.
Who do you think people will be walking away talking about most, Aaron or Chloe?
You know what? People are bowled over by Hit Girl because I think they're not expecting it. But I mean, everyone's been incredibly complimentary about Aaron's performance. They're both extraordinary, genuinely.
What about getting Nick Cage on board? How much of a coup was that?
Oh man, we were so excited, and the fact that he brought to it this extreme craziness and his idea about doing an Adam West voice. He was so tuned into the idea. He was absolutely on our wavelength. So we were very lucky.
What did you see in Kick-Ass that made you want to bring into the screen?
That he was a modern, relevant superhero, and we haven't had one for, I can't remember the last time we had one. Spider-Man's from the 60s, Batman's from the 30s, Iron Man 60s, Watchmen 80s. Why don't we do something from now?
What was it that made Aaron right for the role?
Watch the movie. He is what he came in, that's what the screen test was like. It's perfect.
All right, cheers.